What is up, my guys? Thank you for coming back to another Jaguars United live show, man. I'm glad that the chat is already popping off, and I haven't done a live show in a while. Took a little vacation, so you might have to let me know how all my settings are and the sounds are for the live show. I haven't done a live show in a while, but I do appreciate everybody that's in the chat already. D2, always one of the first ones in the chat, says hi. The Finesse King is in here. Robert Adsert, Charlie Boy, Nolly Full Cab, Kev B. I'll get to everyone at some point, but if you're rewatching it, make sure you follow and subscribe to the channel because we do all kind of film breakdowns all throughout the year. And you can go back and look at some of the player positional breakdowns. You can also follow me on Twitter at Jaguars_United. And that way you can kind of see when things are coming on. I kind of will post when a live show's coming up. And I've been doing like polls. I don't know if y'all have seen any of like the Jags fan polls I've been doing, but they've been pretty fun to see what's been going on. But Joseph Drawbone, I mean, you guys are here, man. I love it. So today we're going to be talking all about the Jags depth chart, and here's what I'm kind of thinking. I mean, I have it all filled out and everything already. But what I'm kind of thinking is, and this is where I want you guys as head to be as we're doing this live show. I'm thinking like mid-season depth chart. Okay, like week one. Yeah, you could probably make an argument that my list could be a little off week one, but I'm kind of thinking more like mid-season. So if you'll kind of go with me there, like that's kind of what I'm thinking, all right? So as we look through this depth chart, keep that in mind. Thank you guys so much that are here in the chat. Man, let's just jump right into it, shall we? Alrighty, so here I have fabulously pre-set up a depth chart with some hidden names. All right, so we're gonna go through these, and I want to know you guys' opinion on these, where they're at. As you can see, they're kind of broken down in a weird format here, but it's okay. I mean, I think we'll get through it together. I mean, we're pretty good about that. All right, so the first thing we're gonna start off is wide receiver. Now, remember, keep this in mind. This should be week 10. 9, those sorts of things there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and remove this. First one, that was a duplicate there. Bear with me. We'll just pull it out of the way. DJ Chark. I can just pull it out of the way. It's way faster. Is this mind-blowing for anybody? No, DJ Chark should be the guy. I got to be honest, I did kind of consider DJ Chark taking a step back this year. I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I'm just saying that, like, based off of how he played last year, I mean, look, I'm not calling anything out that hasn't already been called out. I mean, Urban Meyer and DJ Chark already had their exchange. It was pretty public in the media. Urban Meyer expects more out of DJ Chark this year. And I think we can all agree. We can all get there with that for sure. So DJ Chark's there, and I think that's no secret here. All right, we're going to move on to the next wide receiver, Marvin Jones Jr. Okay, again, no surprise. Marvin Jones Jr. could end the season with more stats than DJ Chark. I mean, realistically, in your fantasy drafts, who's going to go first, Chark or Marvin Jones? I mean, I could see Marvin Jones going first. I could see DJ Chark. I don't know. I mean, it's a good kind of 1A, 1B situation for sure. Nolly Full Cap says, this is why we love this channel. Who else is putting this much prep into a Jags preseason live stream? I got to say, man, I've been looking forward to this for a while. I did take some time off from doing some live shows and videos. There just wasn't a lot going on, and I pump out a lot of content during the season and in the off season. So, in order for me to keep my sanity, I like to take a little bit of June and July off, and I think you guys do too. You know how it is. But look, DJ Chark, Marvin Jones Jr., looking good. All right, so here's how I kind of broke it down here with the second one. I have Laviska Shenault. And this is where I kind of had there's a couple positions here that I mean, you could argue with me, obviously. But I could see in my mind where like Marvin Jones and Laviska Shenault are 1 and 2. And I know this is not popular, but I really don't have any doubt in my mind about Marvin Jones and Laviska. I have a little doubt about DJ Chark, and that's the only place I'm coming from. Someone in the chat, Robert Adsert, says DJ was bummed with 5 quarterback changes. Completely agree. But again, like, I mean, how long has receivers on other teams that were bad still made plays? And I kind of wanted to see more out of DJ Chark last season. Nothing against him. Again, I just want to see it. Brandon La Touche says, Jaguars United, I missed you, bro. Brandon, I missed you too, dude. And I love live shows, dude. This is what I live for. Kevin B says Jay was getting too much strange this summer. This summer was strange for me, but not in that context. All right, moving on to the next wide receiver. I have Colin Johnson. Any of you guys that have watched my breakdown videos and my film breakdowns, I'm big on Colin Johnson. I like his frame. I like his size. I like what he showed last year. And I think he's going to be utilized. I think he's the first big receiver that we use. Okay, so I think we have a couple that are going to make this team. But I think Colin Johnson is the first big guy in the red zone. Throw it up to him, make a catch. I think he's the first one on the depth chart. So I have him here at 4. But this is a situational thing. I mean, I expect this offense to run pretty much primarily 3 wide receivers at all times. That would put Colin Johnson first guy off the bench, and that's good. I mean, the NFL first guy off the bench, that's pretty impressive, if you ask me, for sure. Moving on to the receiver that I think will make the team, 5th wide receiver, Jamal Agnew. And the reason why I have Jamal Agnew here making the team is because I just think primarily he's going to be our kick returner. I'm not saying other guys can't do it. Travis Etienne, all sorts of guys, even some defensive guys I wouldn't mind seeing return the ball. But I think Jamal Agnew is going to solidify that spot. He's going to be the guy that, by mid-season, is the kick returner. And I think he's the guy that is going to make this roster. You'll see him on the field when a guy's tired, or maybe a special play where it's a PA boot and we need some dude to fly across the field, and he'll do that. Josu Rivera with a $9.99 donation. Bro, Josu, thank you. He says, God, I can't wait to see some training camp footage. If DJ wants the money, he will be going super hard. Oh, dude, thank you so much for the $10 donation, bro. I really appreciate it. Man, I'm humbled that you get something like that. I love the Jags community. They're my favorite people to talk to. It's a lot of fun, so thank you. Nolly Full Cap says, bro, if you have Tebow in that 3rd tight end slot, we're not there yet, Nolly. We're not there yet. Quit looking ahead, man. All right, Jamal Agnew, I think he makes the team there. Josu, thanks again, man. I appreciate the donation. And then I think Jalen Camp actually does make this roster. Again, if you watch my film breakdowns, I'm big on Jalen Camp. I think he's a similar body type as Colin Johnson, a guy that can go up, really, really athletic. I mean, Jalen Camp's film is pretty disgusting at Georgia Tech. I mean, the plays that he did make, it kind of seems like he's way more well-rounded than people think. So I like Jalen Camp. I like his potential on this roster. I think he makes the team, and I think he kind of can eke out some playing time if there's an injury or can you imagine a red zone situation? Can you imagine a stack on one side of the field with Colin Johnson and Jalen Camp stacked on each other, and one runs to the back of the end zone and the other one runs to the front of the end zone? Who do you cover? I mean, that's such an easy throw for Trevor Lawrence, especially if he's booting out to that side and he's got some time to read the field. Man, I mean, that's a great situation if you ask me. All right, so moving down to tight end. All right, so tight end 1, I have Chris Manhertz. I like what I've seen in Chris Manhertz, although it's not a lot. I think his playing style kind of fits more what this offense is going to look like. A lot of quick stuff on the inside, a lot of misdirection, quick hitters, and when your offense is kind of based around quick hitters and things like that, you need a tight end that can block, and you need a guy that can play on the line of scrimmage, can get out in space, can seal a linebacker on the backside to allow a guy like an Etienne or a Robinson to get to the sideline. You got to have a tight end that can block and that you don't have to worry about being a liability. I mean, remember, the tight ends, I mean, they're double teaming. They're blocking the strong side DNs who are typically some of your better pass rushers. So you want to have a guy there that you can count on to block, and Chris Manhertz is there for sure. At number 2, I have Luke Farrell. Okay, Luke Farrell, I think, is a guy that's going to surprise a lot of people. Now, again, I'm not saying opening day roster, Luke Farrell is number 2 on the depth chart. I'm saying week 10. Okay, I think week 10, week 9, week 8, Luke Farrell is your number 2. I like his ability to do everything: block, read plays, catch. He runs his route well. He's got really good hands. I mean, I don't think he was really talked about enough, to be honest with you. I know he was one of these late round tight ends, and it wasn't a tight end heavy draft, and people might have had their sights set on some other tight ends in this draft, but I like Luke Farrell. I really do, and I think his stats don't nearly say enough about who he is and what type of player he is. So I like Luke Farrell in that situation. Cameron Boisvert says, what do you think of Colin Johnson? I mean, I like Colin Johnson. I mean, he's actually one of my favorite players on the team. I think he has boom potential written all over him. And I think this will be a year that he shows it, especially with a quarterback that likes to throw it high. For sure. And I know, I mean, this is going to, some people might turn the stream off now and might not watch the rest of the video, but I do have Tim Tebow at number 3 at this tight end. I know it's kind of a joke, but look, I mean, I just don't really think you bring a guy in just for him to be at training camp and to mess around. I mean, I think they have intentions of this guy playing. They've been talking about it a lot here in Jacksonville on local radio and things like that, where Tim Tebow's greatest strength is once you put the pads on. So they're about to put the pads on in practice, and that's where you're really going to kind of see his all-around ability, I think. I'm not necessarily saying he gets a lot of touches and a lot of snaps, but I think that he is a gimmick player. I mean, look, this gimmick offense is kind of taken over the NFL. Look at what all these teams are doing in Arizona with gimmick offenses, New Orleans, Carolina. I mean, you're seeing gimmick offenses like everywhere, where you just bring in a guy for one play, he does something, and then you don't see him again for 6 quarters. I think Tebow ends up being one of those gimmick guys. So I think Laviska can also do it, but I think Laviska is actually a better just straight-up receiver and can be really dangerous there. Gimmick guy, a guy who can do it. You may have turned off the stream. I'm sorry, but look, this is it, man. I think by midseason, that's who's there. All right, now at left tackle, I have Cam Robinson. Now, this one, I'm just going to go ahead and move his backup out of the way, Walker Little, because I was actually pretty back and forth on this. Like, if I'm thinking week 9 or 10, like, there's a strong sense in me that thinks that Walker Little will be the starter at left tackle. I like Walker Little. I like his film. Obviously, the only hesitation I have is with his injuries and with his ability to stay on the field. I mean, the best ability is availability, the old saying goes. Hopefully Walker Little can be available. I mean, look, Cam Robinson has he's liked around the league for people that don't really watch him. I mean, he grades out okay from time to time, and I know he doesn't give up sack. I mean, I know you could point to these just numbers on why Cam Robinson's good, but quite frankly, the eyeball test, I don't like it, and he's not consistent. I think Walker Little could be a guy who could be a left tackle in this league for a long time. He's got the frame, he's got the skill, the size, the technique. He's got it all. Nolly Full Cab says, dog over O'Shaughnessy, talking about Tebow. Yeah, I just don't see O'Shaughnessy fitting in this offense. I like him as a guy, I like him as a player. He's done a lot for the franchise. This doesn't seem like a guy that fits in what Urban Meyer's trying to do. I feel like Luke Farrell does what he does, but he's younger, and I think he does it a little bit better. So I think it's between Luke Farrell and James O'Shaughnessy, and we just drafted Luke Farrell. So, I mean, that's my thought process behind that. Not even to factor in that James O'Shaughnessy hasn't stayed healthy ever. So if he can't stay healthy by week 9 or 10, I mean, this is what your depth chart might look like. Robert Atford, with a 3 tight end set, Urban uses, wouldn't he have 4 tight ends for a backup? Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. And I think you might see a guy at this fullback spot. I have Luke Farrell at this fullback spot because, at Ohio State, they ran Luke Farrell a lot in the backfield. Again, I'm not talking about a lead blocker. I'm talking about a guy in the backfield who can leak out, block, do all sorts of things. And Luke Farrell did that a lot at Ohio State. Again, if you watched our film breakdown, Luke Farrell does a lot of stuff in that offset eye position and in the backfield. So, I mean, I think you're going to see Luke Farrell a lot on these. I don't know if you'll see a lot of 3 tight end sets. I think if you do, there will be a guy like Tebow in there. Or they'll be in tackle over. We'll have Walker Little and Cam Robinson on the field on the left side, and then 2 tight ends. I mean, that's a lot of stuff that modern NFL does. And, and I think you'll see Luke Farrell in the backfield. And if they give the roster spot to Luke Farrell at fullback, then you might see a James O'Shaughnessy at tight end. That's a good point there, Robert Atzert. Cameron Boisvert says, I'm huge on Walker Little. He can't wait. Jags Fan Cave. What up, Jags Fan Cave? He's got a YouTube channel talking about the Jags. Go follow and subscribe to Jags Fan Cave. Has some killer content out there. Some good Twitter things, too. I like that D-line. I've been watching that D-line bracket you've been doing, and I like it. For me, Stroud and Henderson were the best 2 D linemen, D tackles in my lifetime. But I mean, what do I know? But he says, how bad does Cam have to be for Little to see starting snaps? I think Urban that's a good question. I think Urban has everyone on a short leash outside of Trevor Lawrence and really, can you think of anyone else that's maybe one of these rookies? ETN, I think they're on a short leash. Everybody. I mean, that's what happens when you have a new coach and a new regime, and that's why you make those types of changes. All right, I'll try to move along here so this show isn't 17 hours long, but you know how I get. Sorry. All right, at left guard, I have Andrew Norwell starting. I think he actually played pretty well at the end of the year last year. I was watching the film, breaking down the offensive line, and I found myself at the end of the season kind of being like, oh, dang, I mean, that was kind of a good block. I mean, I was kind of, Norwell's okay. I think Norwell's going to be fine. That pay cut he took, perfect. If he would have sat there at his pay scale, I'd have been pissed. But the pay cut, look, Andrew Norwell's, he's one of us. He knows, got to play better. But at least now we're not making him like one of the highest paid guards in the league. At his backup, I have Casey McDermott. And do I realistically think Casey McDermott's going to see a lot of playing time this year? No, I don't. But I think for the sake of a depth chart order, you have to have a guy there. Now, we have so many versatile guys. We have so many guys that can play across the offensive line that I don't think we'll need a guy like Casey McDermott to play, but I think he will make this team as a lineman. All right, at center, it's no secret that Brandon Linder is going to be the center. How long he can play, there's no telling. Did have some injuries the last couple years, but at the same time, he's the best at what he does in the league. He's among the top tier when he's healthy. So it's his spot to lose until he's out. All right, and then I have Tyler Shatley at backup. And look, Tyler Shatley is the backup center. He's the backup left guard. He's the backup right guard. He's the backup right tackle. I mean, this dude is the backup everything. I mean, T-Shat69 is one of my favorite Jaguars because he's just been always available. He always hits the field ready to play. You don't hear about him being like a prima donna, but he's just put in the work week after week, game after game. So I love it. I love it, T-Shat. Robert Adsert says Norwell finished his run blocks well. Yeah. I mean, he's a good lineman. I mean, his film at Carolina was disgusting. All right, at right guard, I have Ben Bartch. I think and I know, I'll just go ahead and move his back up here, AJ Cann. Look, I mean, I know AJ Cann is going to be the week 1 starter, but I think by week 9, Ben Bartch is the starter. I mean, I know AJ Cann played better last year. I know he graded out well last year. I get all that, but he's kind of in the same thought with me as Cam Robinson, and like I could see him losing his job midway through the season. I like Ben Bartch. I think last year playing gave him some experience. I think he's going to build off that. I mean, rookie offensive linemen have a huge adjustment, and by year 2, year 3, you really start to see linemen kind of come into their own, and I think Ben Bartch takes that big step next year, and I think you see him starting at right guard by week 9, 10. At right tackle, Juwan Taylor. Dude's got to clean up his penalties, obviously. Too many false starts, but he's young, and he's kind of got that mauler blocking right tackle that you want. Reminds me of that Leon Searcy. Just kind of, eats up that right side. He's so big. I mean, if he gets his hands on you, you're done. He's just got to be a little bit sharper at the line of scrimmage with his things like that. And that's just, the right tackle position is that's typically where you can see some of your drop off in salary and things like that. So I'm glad that we have a rookie deal or a rookie deal guy. Jack's Fan Cave says, who sees snaps first, Bartch or Little? Man, that's just going to come down to the first injury. If the injury is on the interior, I think Bartch takes the snaps. And if the injury is on the edge tackle positions, I think it's Walker Little. But, I mean, a lot of people said Walker Little was going to play guard in the NFL. So, I mean, really, who knows? All right, then finally I have Derwin Gray. Derwin Gray's been in the league for like 6 or 7 years. He's a guy that was kind of brought in that is like a veteran. You can plug him in there, and he kind of knows what to do. And it can be valuable. Again, that right tackle spot a lot of times is where you can kind of drop off in your skill just because you don't prioritize it as much there. All right, at quarterback, this should not be too surprising. Trevor Lawrence is going to be your starter all season long, pending an injury, but that's easy. We don't even need to really talk about that. But at his backup, I have C.J. Beathard, and this is what I'm thinking. Again, remember, you got to be thinking with me week 9, right? By week 9, I don't think Gardner Minshew's on this team. I think we're in a great position to hold on to Gardner Minshew until a team needs him, right? One of these contenders, quarterback goes down. Minshew's probably the first one in line. I mean, I know a lot of these guys have their quarterbacks drafted within the last couple of years, but there's a lot of teams that have a lot of money tied up in their quarterback, and if they go down early in the season, Gardner Minshew suddenly is their best chance to win. So Gardner, and look, I'm happy for the guy. I hope he gets a chance somewhere to play, to be honest. All right, then at halfback, Week 9, Week 10, I got Travis Etienne starting. I know James Robinson has like the numbers from last season. I got the rookie numbers. But I think Travis Etienne is just going to carry the majority of the touches with the team. I think he is going to be the receiving back. I think he's going to get third down back responsibilities. James Robinson is going to get the first and second down, carries, run between the tackles, maybe try to hit the outside. But you're going to see Etienne a lot more than Robinson, I think, especially by the end of the season. Can Etienne make it the whole season? That's a thing that's always asked about rookies at that skill position who aren't used to playing those extended, long NFL seasons. That's yet to be seen. But obviously I have James Robinson behind him as going to be the second running back, your first down running back. But as far as snaps and percentage and usage, I think Travis Etienne gets it. All right, so I think that's your offense there. Again, I know the offensive line looks a little wonky, but, I like this team. I think there's a lot of weapons on this offense. I think you mix in Urban Meyer's experience as a play caller. People forget that Urban Meyer is, one of the smartest receiver coaches. He was a receiver coach coming up. So not only do we have a decent receiver room, we have probably one of the best receiver coaches ever. If you think about head coaches that have had success and what position they came from, Urban coming from that receiver position is pretty impressive. So excited for the skill positions. I think Trevor Lawrence has a better season this year than Herbert had last year. And I think that Trevor Lawrence wins Rookie of the Year. And you're not going to be able to deny it because the dude's going to throw 25 to 29 touchdowns. So excited, pumped, super excited. All right, we're going to move on to the defense. And defense, you got to remember, is a rotational thing. Like a good defense can rotate guys in the front seven. So bear with me here with some of these positions. I'll try to explain the 3-4 a little bit and maybe what their jobs may be in this situation. Antonio Rivera says, Minshew probably going to go to the Saints or the Broncos. Yeah. Robert Adsert says, Aaron was afraid of Bortles and got rid of him. LOL. They did win 2 playoff games apiece. LOL. Yeah. I don't think he was afraid, but I like that. I like where you're going with that. But, look, there's a bunch of teams. If you're the Seahawks and you get an injury, do you tank or do you trade for Minshew? If you're, the Bills and Josh Allen gets injured earlier in the season, you trade for a quarterback, right? So, it's there. There's going to be spots there. I don't care who you voted for. I like that. That's his username. He says, our players look extra happy this season. They really do, don't they? They really do. All right, let's move on to the defense. This is your base 3-4. I'm gonna be talking about it as if they're in an underfront, and I'll kind of explain that, but that's kind of base for 3-4. All right, so at I know. I left D end, and when I say left, I'm kind of talking about the strong side because, traditionally in offense, if you're right-handed quarterback, you're going to want to roll out to the right, so you're going to have the strength to the right. So for the defense, left side is your strong side players. So your strong side D end is going to be like over the guard or maybe outside the guard's shoulder on the strong side. And I think Taven Bryan wins his job this year. Look, Taven Bryan, I know I'm going to get killed for this, but he's a late bloomer everywhere he goes. High school, college, late bloomer. Like, he's a late bloomer. It's what he is. He's been that way his whole life. He's young for his grade. He's a guy that I'm not trolling, and I think he will be the starter at that DN position. Now, I do like Doug Costin, and I think Doug Costin will get some considerable amount of snaps there at that, 4-tech, 5-tech, whatever it is on the strong side. But what you got to keep in mind is that 3, 4, 5-tech on the strong side in a 3-4 defense, their only job is to just not get pushed backwards. Like, they're going to be responsible for a gap, but they're not going to really need to get after the quarterback. They're just going to need to make sure the ball doesn't get run through their gap and they don't get blown off the line of scrimmage. I think Taven will be able to do that this year. The dude's a beast. He's strong. And I think they're going to put him in a position to be successful at that strong side 5 technique. All right, at nose tackle, I got Malcolm Brown. I think he was brought in to be the nose. However, another position I don't think they're asking a lot out of. So behind Malcolm Brown, I have Jay Tufele, the rookie out of USC. I think that's a guy that you can put at the nose. A lot of times they're being asked to 2-gap, which basically means keep your arms extended on the center and don't let them run the ball, but in the A-gaps. Malcolm Brown, perfect at that. Jay Tufele, I like him. I'm a little concerned about in his scouting report. A lot of people said that like they were questioning his character and like his maturity, which I didn't like to see in a scouting report. But I do like his film. I like his play, and I think eventually he'll grow into that role. So I'm getting a lot of hate for Taven Bryan, and I know, and when I made it, I knew. But look, I mean, I got to stick with my gut, you know. All right. At right DN, so we're going to call this the weak side defensive end position. So they're going to be like basically the 3 technique on the weak side. I have Roy Robertson Harris. I like him there. I like what he did in Chicago. I like how big he is, one of the biggest guys on our team. I like his ability, again, to hold the gap. He's a very strong player, smart player, great pickup, a guy that's not going to really, you know, blow you away with his athleticism, but just his like frame and size and strength. Chuck Olds says I'd keep Oshag over Tebow. Yeah, Chuck, what I was kind of talking about was like I'm concerned about O'Shaughnessy's health and if he can play a whole season, and if he fits into this offense. Antonio Rivera says he would take Jay Tufele over Taven Bryan. Yeah, Jags fan can says it too. I saw a lot of Tufele on the outside. Why do you think he'll be on the nose? I think because he played nose in college in a 3-4 scheme, and that's kind of all the film they have on him. Now, will they try him out on the outside and see what he can do? Sure, I'm sure he'll get out there sometimes. You know, in an Okie front or some sort of thing where they're rolling away, you know, the nose tackle ends up taking on like a guard or a tackle. But I just think I'm talking straight up under front. I think he'll end up playing that nose more than he will on the outside. I don't care who you voted for. Says I'd rather keep Devon Hamilton over Taven. I have Devon Hamilton behind Roy Robertson Harris. I know he played the nose a little bit. I know he can play that 3 technique, but I think he does thrive on that weak side 3 technique. I like Devon Hamilton. I think I might have spelled his name wrong there. I just realized it. But Kev B says that Devon Hammy's going to beast it. Hopefully. Again, he's a guy that can make that year 2 jump, and he may. But I just think that Roy Robertson Harris is just a pretty complete player, especially look, these 3 guys here. I know people are like very like passionate about this part of the depth chart and who should be there. But in all honesty, in a base 3-4, your interior D linemen don't have to be all world. They just have to do their job. Can they not get blown off the line of scrimmage? Can they hold a gap against the run? And every once in a while, can they beat a one-on-one and get a sack on a play on a collapsed pocket? I think all these guys can do that. You know, ideally you want a great player everywhere, but this is kind of like that right tackle position where this kind of gets the butt of the depth chart. And I think that you prioritize pretty much everywhere else on the defense over these 3 positions. So don't get too worried about it. Don't get too... You know, I mean, I know guys like Aaron Donald play it, but, you know, he's probably the only exception. Junior Jags Press says, what's up, Jags United? Junior Jags Press also has a YouTube channel. And, look, I'm all about plugging Jaguar fan content. I'm a Jaguar fan, so I'm all about plugging it. So let me know. You know, hit me up if you're thinking about starting some content. We can collab, do things like that. I'm all about Jags fans and working together, so good to see you, Junior Jags Press. And go subscribe to him. All right, at left outside linebacker. Okay, so this is basically, if you're with me here, we're calling the left side our strong side, right? So at left side, outside linebacker in a 3-4, that's basically your strong side edge. And your strong side edge, I think, is going to be Clavon Chazon. They kind of talked about how he's going to be that, I think they call it the open end, I think the terminology that the Jaguars use, basically meaning I'm sorry, this is the Sam. This is the Sam backer here, okay? So the Sam backer is the strong side. Josh Allen here is the open end, okay? So I think these are your 2 edge players here. You have Clavon Chazon on the strong side, taking on the double teams, setting the edge, keeping containment on the outside. Then I think you have Josh Allen, who rushes the passer from the blind side. He gets the cutback, the bootlegs, chases from the backside, all those things that super athletic freaks like Josh Allen do. And I think these 2 guys, have some of the biggest jumps on the defense this year. I made a video on guys that will make a huge jump this year, and I have both these guys on my list in my top 5 because I like Kalavon's game. He might be a late bloomer, kind of like Taven. It might take him a little bit longer, but I think Josh Allen's ready. I think Josh Allen's ready to make that jump with the help here that he didn't have last year at the interior defensive line and the help in the secondary. I think Josh Allen's going to get back to his rookie form and have a great year. So watch out for Josh Allen, extremely talented player. Backing up that strong side edge, I have Dawuane Smoot. And I know people are big on Dawuane Smoot, and some people I've even seen have him starting over K'Lavon Chaisson, which, look, that's fine. I mean, Dawuane Smoot is kind of hot and cold to me. He disappears at times, and he pops off at times, so a little inconsistent. But, hey, the same could be said for almost all these guys. I could see Dawuane Smoot working himself up in the depth chart, but I think by the midseason, K'Lavon will have kind of outperformed him. But who knows week one? I mean, this could be flipped here. All right, and then I think Jihad Ward makes the roster in at this strong side edge spot. I think edge is one of those positions where you do keep an extra guy, and I think Jihad Ward is that. So apparently a great teammate, locker room guy. He's pretty active on social media, which is cool for us. I did tweet at him, though, with no response, so I'm going to just hold that in the back of my mind for a little bit. All right, and then backing up Josh Allen, I have Jordan Smith, the rookie that we drafted out of UAB. Now, if you remember, Jordan Smith was originally at the University of Florida, got in trouble with that credit card scandal that got like half the team kicked off the team when he was a freshman, and he ended up going to JUCO and then going to UAB, and I like Jordan Smith's game. One thing that people say is like, oh, well, he was at UAB. I mean, he should have popped off. But he was only a 3-star coming out of high school. UAB recruits 3 stars on the reg. Jordan Smith popped off against some good competition. So I like Jordan Smith. He's going to be a sleeper guy. I don't really have him in any videos. Maybe I should make a sleeper video. But Jordan Smith, I think, is going to be a guy that ends up being on people's radars after this year for sure. I don't care who you voted for. It says true that LOL. We are, but we have drafted a lot of D-line early picks. Yeah, we have, but a lot of teams do. It's kind of when you're in a 4-3. I mean, it's crucial. Moon Illusions says 17-0. What's up, Moon Illusions? Spurville, a couple of emojis, and I like that. I like that. Gerald McKinnon says I've got the D moving up to about 21st in the league, which is a solid improvement. Yeah, I mean, they're still young, so I mean, I think that's a good number. I could see a little higher, to be honest with you. I mean, I like this defense. All right, inside linebacker, I have Joe Schobert. So I have him on the left side, so he's going to be playing that strong side. There's no doubt about that. Joe Schobert played more snaps than any other player on the Jaguars last year. That was one of our trivia questions this week. The dude was solid. Was surprised. I was expecting him to be this like all-world coverage linebacker, which I didn't see. I mean, he had like 1 interception. It was a pretty good catch too. But I like Joe Schobert. Good guy. I mean, you can't go wrong. Talented. Not going to get beat in the run. Backing him up, I have Dylan Moses, the undrafted rookie out of Alabama. I think Dylan Moses, without the knee injury, probably is a guy that's drafted in the mid-rounds. I'm glad the Jaguars got him in the undrafted free agency. I like him, man. He's like a solid guy, lateral speed, maybe not like Pro Bowl level, but he's smart. He can identify the plays. He can get there quick. Moon Illusion says Brian ahead of Costin? ? I know. And look, I'm talking like week 10. I think Taven. I still believe in Taven. I do. Chuck Oles says Joe is gonna kill you. Joe is gonna kill you. That must be like a song or something. I'm scared. All right, at right inside linebacker, so that weak side linebacker spot, I have Miles Jack. That's pretty obvious. Highest rated defensive player on our team last year. Don't really need to talk about him. Kind of like Trevor Lawrence, one of our foundational building blocks. Great year last year. And then behind him, I have Shaq Quarterman. And I know Shaq Quarterman isn't – I mean, like, Shaq Quarterman, like, technically should be that strong side backer, but I know him and Dylan Moses are kind of the same player. And I know there's guys like Quincy Wilson that'll probably end up making the team. But I didn't want to mess with all them. But that's who I think ultimately we'll see some snaps. Is Shaq Quarterman, and that's who you'll see. He was tired last season, LOL. Gavin Baker, I know I'm late, but a Duval, glad you're back. Gavin, I'm glad I'm back too. I took a little vacation. I changed jobs. I'm at a new school now, so I was doing all that. So, I mean, man, interesting summer. But, man, am I excited for this Jags team for sure. I'm going down to the training camp on Thursday. So, any of you guys that are out there on Thursday, say what's up. We'll be out there for sure. All right. To finish off our depth chart, we have the secondary. All right, and At corner one, look, I don't know if CJ. Y'all know. I know CJ and Shaq are going to play left, right. I don't know if they're going to follow around a receiver. I don't know, and I don't frankly care. I think CJ Henderson and Shaq Griffin are both excellent corners. I mean, just a tremendous upgrade. I was looking at the roster from last year, and it was pathetic in the secondary. I think CJ Henderson has a good year. I think he's kind of there with Taven, where he takes that big step this year. With Kalavon, takes that big step. Laviska, I think he takes that big step. When he was healthy and I hate to say this, when he was trying, CJ Henderson looked really, really good. Shaq Griffin, his tape's good. I like him. He's very instinctual. He plays the slant well. I mean, I just love corners that play the slant well. I'm a sucker for that. I'm excited about those two guys. I think it's pretty obvious that they were going to be starters. All right, behind CJ, I'm going to call this the nickel. I have Tyson Campbell, and I know some people have talked about. I know it's come out that Trey Herndon is going to be the nickel. I know there's some Sidney Jones is going. I've heard it all, but based off of I don't think Urban Meyer's going to give his game plan away. Based off of what I've seen on film, I think Tyson Campbell is your nickel. I mean, Tyson Campbell played on the inside a lot at Georgia. He didn't play on the outside a lot. I mean, he played on the inside. He man covered the best player. If they were on the inside slot, he was there and he was effective. I think Urban's blowing some smoke about the defensive back position, and I think by midseason, Tyson Campbell is your nickel back, which is great because I do expect this team to be in that 3-3-5 nickel package a lot, and when they are, they'll probably take Malcolm Brown off the field. They'll roll Roy Robertson Harris to the nose, and then they'll bring in Tyson Campbell. I like that defense. That's a fast. I mean, think about that. You have Shaq Griffin, Tyson Campbell, CJ Henderson, Josh Allen, Miles Jack, Kalavon, all on the field at the same time. That is a lot of speed, and I like that. Moon Illusion says, I'm so excited for Cisco in the secondary. I haven't gotten there yet, Moon. Kev B says, what's with the beef between you and UCF? He was accusing you of being a fake fan. Doesn't sound like UCF Jaguar. Me and him are pretty good. Me and him are on pretty good terms. He might have been talking about someone else. Kev B, our secondary is deep. Yeah, it is. Jags Fan Cave, trade CJ in a fourth for Xavier Howard. I mean, I don't know if they would do that. Xavier Howard's pretty good. I mean, they may. I mean, I think you're about. I mean, I think you're zero sum on that trade, to be honest. So, I mean, whatever you think, whatever you like better. All right, behind Shaq Griffin, I have Sidney Jones, who is a guy that I think will actually play well this year. Look, it's only inevitable that one of these skill position players is going to go down at some point for a little bit. Sidney Jones is great. Someone said in the chat, we're deep. We are deep. I love it. Bring in Sidney Jones, and I think that means a solid third corner, backup boundary guy. And then I think you have Trey Herndon, who also makes this team, who can play in the slot. Like I said, there's rumors of him starting in the slot. But again, I mean, if your two corners go down and you roll out Sidney Jones, Tyson Campbell, and Trey Herndon, you're at least a little bit better than last year, and that's with your top two guys going down. So major improvements to the secondary at the corner position, especially. At strong safety, I have Gerard Wilson. Let me just go ahead and just pull all these out here because I know it's going to be interesting. But Gerard Wilson has caught a lot of steam lately. And look, he's a decent player. I mean, do I think he's a long-term starter here? I don't think so. But for this year, I mean, he did grade out well. I mean, he was one of the highest graded PFF players on our defense last year. I know people don't like Dewey Wingard, but the dude is pretty boom or bust. He's either giving up a touchdown or he's making an interception. And there's just something about those guys that intrigue me. And I think Urban likes those types of guys. So I think with Wingard's, he's actually a really smart player. He's actually a really good tackler. Can play special teams. I think he's on the team. And then Daniel Thomas, special teamer, who could find his way onto the field, but I'm not too sure. All right, then at free safety, I have Rayshawn Jenkins and Andre Cisco. And to be completely honest with you, I almost flipped these. Week one, obviously Rayshawn's starting. But by mid-season, I think there's a chance Andre Cisco plays himself onto the field. I thought about putting Cisco in instead of Gerard Wilson, but I don't know how much they trust him to play as a box safety this year. Next year, I definitely could see that happening. But this year, I think that you're going to keep him at that free safety position where he can kind of roam and read the quarterback's eyes, read the route concepts, get there quick. Andre Cisco takes a lot of chances. which leads to a lot of interceptions, but it leads to him getting burnt a lot. I mean, he got burnt pretty bad by Travis Etienne in the Syracuse-Clemson game because he bit hard on a pump fake that Trevor Lawrence threw, and they just threw right over the top of him into the end zone. So I like Cisco. He's got a little bit of growing up to do as far as like a field game, learning the game and all of that. But I think there is a chance by midseason that Andre Cisco is in the starting positions because, I mean, I like his game a lot. He's a good player. Kev B says, I told UCF, why would Jay have an entire YouTube channel for the Jags? He called me fake, too, and blocked me. Oh, I'll have to text him. I'll have to watch it because he must have been messing with you because we text almost weekly about stuff, so it's interesting. Moon Illusions, there's some serious depth back there. Even guys like Daniel Thomas have huge potential. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, I'm not sure how I feel about Daniel Thomas yet, but he said the Thomas disrespect is real. He was pretty good last year when he got snaps. Okay, that's fine. He's a little undersized. That's my only issue with him. Antonio Rivera says, could see by week 10 Thomas and Cisco. Okay, now that would be surprising, but look, I mean, it's the NFL. You never know. I don't care who you voted for. Says, I think Urban will improve CJ. He will have him play to his strength, being mixing in cornerback blitzes, especially with a deep secondary. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you're going to be able to cross-train all these guys to play all over the field. I mean, if the team's number one is in the slot and you line up C.J. Henderson in the slot and you have to put Tyson Campbell on the outside, I mean, I love our corners. I went from hating our defense to loving our defense in one season. I don't think I've ever had that change in a view of the defense before. I mean, I literally am just like completely 180 on this defense. Now, I know people aren't happy about this Taven Bryan thing, but really, I mean, if you really ask yourself in your deepest heart of hearts, am I going to get much more production out of Doug Costin than Taven Bryan? It would be marginal at best. So why not give the guy one more chance? He's obviously strong. Maybe not recognize plays as quickly as you want, but give him a chance. That, like I said, that interior D-line in a 3-4 isn't asked to do a lot, and just don't get blown off the line of scrimmage. Now, if he starts getting blown off the line of scrimmage, I don't care how strong you are. I don't care where you were drafted. Not going to work in a 3-4 front. Ron Beedry says Trevor Lawrence will elevate everyone's game around him. I completely agree. That is a good point. Quarterbacks do that. We see it happen all the time. I don't know how I feel about this offense. I don't. I mean, I go back and forth. I could see it being better than people think. But then again, I could see it being like what it looks like it is on paper. My biggest concerns are DJ Chark and Cam Robinson. I just don't know. I mean, I know DJ Chark is a fan favorite and he's flashed brilliance, but I'm not ready to be all in on him. Whereas Laviska, like, I'm pretty much ready to jump in the deep end on him as all in guy, for sure. Moon Illusion says Hall of Famer Trevor Lawrence. That's right. Antonio Rivera says my heart of heart says Taven will be better taking out the trash for the team instead. Look, guys, I knew I was gonna get dumped on for Taven Bryan. I did it anyways. Okay, I knew it. Same thing with Tebow. You think I put Tebow up there to be popular? No, I didn't do it to be popular. I knew y'all were gonna kill me for it, and the comments are gonna be horrible on YouTube. But look, come on, I gotta tell you what I think, and this is realistically what I think will happen by midseason. Jags fan cave says this squad can go 8-9 or 9-8 if they start off with strong and ride the momentum. Okay. Gerald McKinnon, anyone see T-Law and the receivers working out and jumping in the water, building a bond there? Dude, that looked like so much fun. Like, dude, I want to be out there jumping into the lake off the dock. Why couldn't I be there, right? Come on, Trevor. I don't care who you voted for. It says I could see us sneaking into the last wild card spot. Yeah, I mean, I could too. I mean, to be honest with you guys, I expect Trevor Lawrence to be as good as Andrew Luck. So if he is as good as Andrew Luck, why can't he take the team to the playoffs in his first year? Maybe the talent around him is not as good. That's a valid argument, but I think by week 2, you 100% definitely can be there for sure. Moon Illusion says, I think we snag about 7 wins. Hey, that would be, a major upgrade from last year, but, it would be good, I guess, for sure. UCF says it's all because you have Taven starting. Yeah, I know. Well, don't let UCF tell you he's actually a Gator fan and is a real heart of hearts, so he should be defending me there for sure. All right, well, look, dude, you guys are awesome, man. I love talking Jag stuff. I'm back on it now. Again, I had to take some time off to get refreshed, just like everyone does in the media. You got to take July off, but the season's starting soon. We're super excited about this season. We're going to be doing shows all the time. We do live shows all the time. You guys know that. Thank you guys that are here. If you're here for the first time, thanks for being a part of the community. Feel free to get involved with comments in the live shows or in the comments afterwards. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the depth chart. I get it. I know I'm going to get crap for Taven and Tebow, but I mean, what else you got? I mean, I'd love to hear it. Make sure you follow the Twitter and the Instagram and all that stuff, and subscribe so that you get notifications. It's been a blast, man. Josu, thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. Hopefully we'll be back in a couple days.